typically leaving during her highest earning years. In a case of divorce, she should be compensated for what she gave up. Instead of a day off, plan a stop day, a day when we completely cease all labors and relax. The longest amount of time both of you can be silent before the moment becomes officially awkward, 4 seconds.
Intelligence for your life on the John Tesh Radio Show. Don't miss this stuff.
Legally Yours, brought to you by Fuller & Fuller Attorneys at Law. On the air every Wednesday morning at 10:30 a.m. with John Fuller, a board-certified civil trial lawyer for over 25 years. John welcomes your questions, from business to complex family matters to legal disputes. So tune in every Wednesday morning at 10:30 a.m. for Legally Yours with John Fuller, right here on WOCA 1370 AM and 96.3 FM, The Source.
You've got a garden and we've got a show for you called You've Got a Garden with your host, Master Gardener Carol Ann Baldwin. Carol Ann answers your questions about your flowers, your veggies, your grass, your trees, even questions about your bugs. And she's only on WOCA, so don't miss Carol Ann Baldwin and You've Got a Garden each Tuesday from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. right here on WOCA The Source. WOCA.
All right, 25 minutes before 8 o'clock. It really is a nice-looking Friday. Robin, I really hope you have a great flight and all that. And
Thank you.
Safe. Hope the weather's good in New York, and we're going to miss you so much.
I'm going to miss you guys,
but
too.
Tonight we have the Student Media Festival,
fun.
So looking forward to that. It's always fun. Once a year we get to do this thing.
Yep, you and I do. It's in its 13th year right now, and we've been being the judges and being the presenters for 12 of the 13 years, which we're very proud of this.
They thought of us the second year.
And,
they said, you know what we should do? We should invite those two that are on the radio.
That's right. That's right.
you know what I think? You know what I think it was? I think the first year they pretty much only invited school personnel.
Yeah.
School board and stuff. And then I think Kevin may have had the idea, you know what we should do? We should invite people from the media. Mm-hmm. And that way the people in the media, it's kind of a win-win, because then we talk about it.
That's right.
We generate interest. By the way, we are talking about it right now to do that very thing. Mm-hmm. And in fact, what we're actually doing is advertising it a little bit. It's a free event, and it's a school event. And so if you want to go, it's tonight at 7 o'clock at Westport High School. And the elementary students will be in the first half, then they'll take a 15-minute intermission, and the middle school and high school will be in the second half. And then it will be the Student Media Festival will be broadcast throughout the month on the cable channels each Friday and Saturday. Right.
So if you have Cox Cable or Bright House, you'll be able to see the Student Media Festival the rest of this month.
So it's like one of two times during the year that I wear a jacket.
Yeah, and I dress up with my sparklies. We love the sparklies. I love them so much.
So anyway, it's tonight. Yeah, if you can get over there, that'd be fun. We support the kids, and
always.
If you want to watch it, then you can do that.
Yep, you and I do it every year.
Can I watch it? I got direct.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know. Can you watch it on direct?
I don't know if Direct Cable has a school board channel or not. You'll have to call them up.
You know
and
who
find
will know?
out.
Jim George will know. He'll be here later on.
Oh, okay.
Jim George would know that answer. All right, so let's talk about advertising. I want to help you if you want to advertise. I want to help you learn how to track that advertising.
Okay.
This is cool stuff. Now if you're not a business person, this doesn't apply to me. Well, what if all you're trying to do is advertise to your business? Let's say you work in a company and you've got 300, 400 people. Yeah. And you want to get them all involved in something. You got to get the word out. Well, that's a little bit easier, I suppose, than the public at large. But anyway, so the idea for this segment, where it stems from, was this article that's headline. This is what the headline says. It says, National Guard wasted millions on NASCAR sponsorship. Now, I don't know about that. I don't know if they wasted it or not, but this is what the story says. It says, the National Guard is under the microscope for spending $26.5 million on a NASCAR sponsorship in 2012 that resulted in 0 new soldiers. That's the part I question.
Exactly.
Because let me tell you why. Let me just read one more paragraph. The data, which was obtained by USA Today, shows that 24,800 recruits showed interest in the Guard in 2012, all of whom said the NASCAR sponsorship first piqued their interest. Okay, so there you go. So why would they say it didn't work at all?
Yeah.
Only 20 individuals were qualified to join the service in that group, according to the documents, and none of them decided to join. That's where they get the 0 figure from.
Oh, well, it wasn't for lack of them noticing that the National Guard was on the race cars, and then they went because of that.
Okay, but let me tell you my thought on this. Let me just read a little bit more. In 2013, the Guard heard from 7,500 potential recruits that were swayed by the NASCAR campaign. The USA Today report does not say how many in that group, if any, signed up. Mm-hmm. So let me tell you this: that if the National Guard had spent $26.5 million on a USA Today advertisement, and let's say the New York Times reported that the money spent on USA Today didn't get any recruits, they would be all up in arms, upset that somebody was saying this didn't work.
Exactly.
National Guard's, I'm trying to see which car actually had because that might be make a difference for some people, I don't know. And it might make a difference for the effectiveness of it also. Let's see. Dale Earnhardt Jr., one of the top drivers of the circuit, has been driving number 88 car plastered with the National Guard logo since 2008. So there you go. He's the go-to guy. He's very much a guy that people are watching. So his car definitely is being watched. Okay.
Right.
Now, here's why I think that this article is wrong. And I have no way, there's no reason why I want to defend NASCAR sponsorships, nor do I want to defend the USA Today. I have no reason to. I just want to let you know that everybody who responded to that ad, we call it an ad, and signed up for the National Guard may have not, first of all, responded to the question, what got you interested? They might have seen the car going around, saw that thing and said, wow, I love Dale Earnhardt, and boy, my brother-in-law was in the Coast Guard, or my father was in the Coast Guard, the National Guard rather, and I want to be there too.
Yeah.
So then you go and you sign up. So what made you come here? Oh, my father. My father was in the National Guard. My brother-in-law, my brother, right? My uncle, right? So you don't mention. So suddenly you don't get any credit for the advertisement that you paid for on the car.
Right.
Okay. Second of all, let's say some guy is looking at the race, and he says the next day, "Oh man, I'm thinking about joining the National Guard. I kept thinking about it all day long after I was watching Dale Earnhardt Jr." Right? And the friend says, "You know what? I'm thinking about doing that too." So now the friend goes and he signs up, and they say, "What made you come in here?" He says, "My friend and I were talking about it, and I just decided to do it." So again, the ad works. Maybe indirectly, second generationally. The same thing happens with radio ads. Now, I don't know how to track the effectiveness of a NASCAR ad beyond simply asking people.
Yeah.
But I do know that second generational responses are all over the place. Second, third, you name it. People will hear an ad, read an ad, see a billboard, something, anything at all, and they will often say something about it to their friends. So before I tell you how to track an ad, let me tell you two stories, real quick stories. There's a story about Mr. Wrigley, whose first name I forget, the guy from the Wrigley Chewing Gum Company.
Oh, okay. And the baseball guy? I think they're one in the
same. I don't know. But he's on an airplane, and he's sitting next to a guy and the story, a writer. And the writer is how we know the story, because the writer wrote the story. He says, "Wow, this is an honor. I'm sitting next to the Mr. Wrigley." And he says to him, "Wow, how come why is your gum the number one gum in the world?" He goes, "Because I don't ever stop advertising." Really? Well, you would think you wouldn't need to advertise anymore. You've got gum on every counter, in every grocery store, in every convenience store in America and maybe the world.
Yeah.
He goes, "Well, yeah, but having them there and having people buy them is two different things. As soon as I stop advertising, people will stop buying them."
Exactly.
That's story number one. Story number two is about RC Cola. RC Cola was number 2. Pepsi was not. Coca-Cola was number 1. In some markets, RC Cola was actually number 1. But the big picture, Coca-Cola has always been number 1.
Yeah.
But Pepsi hasn't always been number 2. RC Cola was. They were number 2. They did not think their advertising budget was necessary. They canceled their advertising budget. RC Cola plummeted.
Oh, my gosh.
Plummeted, and Pepsi Cola jumped on it. And if you doubt this for 1 second, ask yourself, how many times do you see a Coca-Cola ad
Yeah.
Or
Huge.
even if it's product placement in a movie. Trust me, somebody got paid to have that Coca-Cola logo or that Pepsi-Cola logo in that movie. In that movie. And we're going to the Student Media Festival tonight.
Yep.
What are the children taught? Because they're studying filmmaking. What are they taught? They're taught if you have a logo in your film, you must blur it out, obscure it somehow. Right? In fact, you and I as judges are supposed to take points off if they forgot to do that.
Yeah,
right?
and we have.
Right.
But they have to get the written permission from the company if they're going to use it.
All right.
So good learning experience for the students.
So let me tell you how to track your ads.
Okay.
First of all, one of the most easy ways to track an ad is to have a low-priced item.
Okay.
Sell a dozen eggs for 25 cents. All right. Now, that's kind of an easy one. People will show up and say, wow, I'm going to get some. So you count how many eggs did you sell. You try to compare how many customers did you have compared to how many you normally have. You assume that between the front door and the eggs, which are usually at the back of the store, these people bought more than just eggs. But you never know. And you can limit it to one, and you can limit it to a certain time frame, like only from now till Tuesday you can get these for 25 cents.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, I know some people in this business disagree with this, so this is debatable, but my opinion is you do not say for a limited time only.
Yeah.
You don't make it vague.
No.
Or you don't say while supplies last. You don't do that either, because that becomes vague. People go, oh yeah, I'm going to get that, and there's not going to be any eggs left. So you have to kind of make sure you have enough. You say, we're going to have 25 cents a dozen eggs until Tuesday, and then on Tuesday, no more. You could say, one per customer. You can do that.
Yeah.
To make sure. And then you it's the number of customers. That's an easy way to track your ad. Simple.
Sure, that's a great way.
Simple as that.
A great way.
Another way to track your ad, if you want to use some of these advice, and the third one is my favorite one. So the second one is find something that you sell that has some kind of a coolness about it, the cool factor, something you have. And it may not be the thing that people are going to walk out with, but let's say one of these jewelry stores in the mall has the Hope diamond,
right,
which wouldn't happen.
On display.
Or maybe they have a diamond that was discovered by the same guy who found the Hope diamond. Or maybe there's maybe Shaquille O'Neal has a shoe in the shoe store.
Yeah.
Or maybe there's an autographed a poster of a sports figure or something like that. You create a story, a very cool story about something in your store.
Yeah.
So that when people walk in through your door, and then you have that in your ad. So people walk in through your door, and your salesperson says, "Can I help you?" Yeah, where's that Shaquille O'Neal shoe? I wanted to see it. Now it's not for sale.
Yeah.
Now, you might have an item for sale, but you can do this. So then, as soon as the person asks for that thing that has piqued everybody's interest, you know that your advertising is working.
That's right.
And guess what? The person who walks in, if you said to that person, did you hear about the Shaquille O'Neal shoe on the radio ad that we're running? They would say no.
Yeah.
Sometimes. Sometimes yes. And the no is not a lie, because guess what? They heard it from their friend.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. Your advertising, just with the NASCAR thing, have something about it that I don't know how you would do it with a car, to be honest with you. All right, now the third one is my favorite. The third way to track an ad is my favorite. You've heard us do this on WOCA. You've probably heard many of the other broadcasters do this as well. How many of you ever have heard me speaking to Brianna at Jerry's Pawn and Gun? Okay, Doug raises his hand. Thank you, Doug.
Huge listenership.
All right, so what happens when I speak to Brianna every single time? What do I say at the end? Go in, put your hands on your hips, walk into Jerry's Pawn and Gun and say, "Where is Brianna?"
Exactly.
Okay. Why do I do that? Because I know that if I just say go to Jerry's Pawn and Gun, people are going to walk in and, there's just another customer. There's no way of knowing, did you come here because of my WOCA ad? Yeah. But when people walk in, they put their hands on their hips, they look around and they say, "Where is Brianna?"
Exactly.
They say, "Wow. This person is a result from that." Now, do you remember the Arby's ad we used to do?
Yes.
What was the man's name?
Give
Mario?
Fernando.
Fernando.
Keys.
All right, so
Give Fernando
the Arby's on Highway 200.
Yep.
had as his manager a man named Fernando.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nice
and
guy.
he was
Super
buying
nice guy.
ads for his Arby's.
Yeah.
He wasn't buying ads for every Arby's in town.
No,
He was buying ads for his Arby's.
that's right.
So Robin and I brainstormed. We said, what can we do? Now, nobody realizes that this actually has some thought behind it.
I know.
But we brainstormed and we came up with an idea. And Fernando? Was that his name?
Fernando.
was
a
kind of blindsided too. So we would do the same thing with him. We would say to Fernando, so what's on the menu today? And he'd say, well, I got this sandwich. And that's how he felt was the best way to advertise. But we knew that we needed him to know that his advertising with us was working.
That's right.
So I would always end those ads with, by the way, when you go down to Arby's, give Fernando a big kiss. Say, hey, where's Fernando? I want to give you a big kiss, Fernando.
Yes.
And Fernando called me one day. He said,
He did.
I got so many people asking for a big kiss. Everyone wants to give me a big kiss. Okay.
Yeah, right.
So you want to put something in the ad. Now, have you ever heard the ad that Joe and Patsy do where they're playing a couple of characters for the storage facility?
I love that. I love those two characters.
Okay, so how many people go into that storage facility and say, what are their names? What do they call themselves again? I can't remember.
I can't. My mind's a blank.
Where are the
now.
two
I'm
people?
right
Where
here.
are the two
That's
people
right.
that I hear on the ads? Where are those two people?
That's right.
You know,
They're so good.
how many people?
George and
Alice, right? George and Alice?
Yeah, George and
All
Alice.
right, so, but that's the kind of thing. You do that kind of thing. Now, if you try to load your commercial with, or your print ad, anything, with a mention this ad and you get 20% off. To me, again, my colleagues in this business probably disagree with me. I don't think that's the most effective way of doing this.
It's boring.
Well, it's not that. It's that a lot of people won't say it. But I'm not going to say that. 20%, what am I going to get? 30 cents off, you know?
Yeah,
If you're
right.
selling a sandwich, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
You're selling a pair of 10%. I know a lot of us do it. A lot of the advertisers do it. And I'm not going to tell an advertiser who wants to do it not to do it. I'm not a salesperson. I do a radio show.
Yeah.
But if that's what they want and that's what they've talked about with the salesperson, then you go. But you come up with something really clever. There was one I was reading about. Let me see. So I've told you some of the ones we've done. So you plant a word flag. That's what they call it. They call it a word flag into the ad.
Very, very smart.
All right, here's one. There was an advertisement on a radio station that had an unintelligent sounding caller at the end of the ad saying, how much should a hamster weigh? And the clerk responds by saying he wasn't sure. And then the caller says, well, I've got one that weighs 72 pounds. Do you think maybe I have a Wolverine? That was the end of the ad. What does that have to do with anything that was being sold? Nothing. What does it have to do with tracking the ad? Everything.
Yeah.
So the silly, funny little joke at the end had a purpose. The purpose was because when people walked in to that store, they said, hey, where do you keep your 72-pound hamsters?
That's right.
And immediately they knew, oh, wow, that's the radio ad working. Right?
Exactly.
Another one was a diamond or a jewelry store that was warning people about getting fat-bottomed diamonds. Now, there's no such thing as a fat-bottomed diamond.
They
Okay.
just made it up.
They made it up.
To
Okay.
be fun, to have
Yeah,
fun.
you don't want a fat-bottomed diamond. You want something that is sleek. Okay.
Yeah.
So, but this became a catchphrase. This became a word flag in the advertisement. People were now the problem with this one is that people would go into other jewelry stores asking, saying, "I don't want a fat bottom diamond." Okay, but you knew when you got them in your store that it was from your ad.
Yeah.
The problem is you might have been advertising for other stores in the process. So you
That
do something like that with give Fernando a big kiss or ask where is Brianna when you do that.
Yeah.
You are specifically saying in order to do this little fun thing that we're doing, you know, and so there you go. So those are my ways of tracking an ad. And just to recap, number one, have a product that's on an unbelievable sale. The cost to you is part of your advertising.
Yeah.
The fact that you might be paying for these people's eggs is kind of it's part of your advertising budget. Okay, that's one way of doing it. The second way that I mentioned was to have a powerful story about something in your store. Maybe you have a Bible in your store that belonged to Thomas Jefferson or something.
Oh,
And you say,
yeah.
come see the Bible. It's on display. We'd love to show it to you. You know, people will come in to look at the Bible and maybe they'll buy something. You know, whatever it is that you have. And then the third way is to plant a word flag. To me, that's my favorite because it gives the writers of the ads some creative ideas, a way to be creative, and a way for your customers to literally alert you that they are coming into your store because they heard that ad.
Exactly.
And P.S., the residual effect works too. Let's say I heard the ad and I told Doug about the ad. Now, Doug goes in and says, hey, where are your fat bottoms diamonds? Or where's your 72-pound hamster? Or where is Brianna? Or I want to give Fernando a kiss.
Yeah.
Right? Suddenly, even though Doug may not have heard the ad directly,
Right.
that advertisement made its way, the effectiveness of that advertisement made it to another person.
Yeah, because it's fun and
Just-
unique. People like to share fun and unique stuff.
We do every single day. We interview people sharing their areas of expertise. This was my day to share what we do.
Yeah.
And I did it so that you all would out there be maybe making a little bit more money with your investment in advertising.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, we've got to go forward. And when Galen Unald is on, if he's on, we will talk about some cities that are misspelled, Ocala being one of them.
Okay.
We'll be right back. This is The Source, WOCA Ocala. It's time for the Frank Pollock Memorial Bicycle Ride to benefit Hospice of Marion County on May 17th at 8 a.m. It starts at Hospice at 3231 Southwest 34th Avenue. Choose between 30, 62, and 80-mile courses. Registration is $40. All participants will receive a post-ride lunch. This ride is supported by Brick City Bicycles, the most experienced specialized dealer in Florida. For more information or to get your equipment ready for the ride, call Brick City Bicycles at 352-369-9400. Here are today's headlines from The Source, WOCA. The funeral for Master Trooper Chelsea Renee Richard was held yesterday at the First Baptist Church here in Ocala on Merricamp Road. It was attended by her family, friends, and her Florida Highway Patrol colleagues, as well as law enforcement officers from many jurisdictions in Florida and, in fact, from as far away as Indiana. Also in attendance was Florida Governor Rick Scott and Florida Attorney General Pam Bondi. Trooper Richard died last Saturday when she, along with two others, were struck by a truck on I-75 that left the highway and entered into the median where an earlier accident had occurred. 57-year-old John Dugan and 55-year-old George Phillips also died in that accident. It was learned during remarks made during the service for Trooper Richard that her boyfriend, Florida Highway Patrol Sergeant Jamie Mulverhill, had planned to propose to Richard the day she was killed. A memorial service for George Phillips will be at 2 p.m. today at Blessed Trinity Catholic Church on Southeast 17th Street. And a celebration of life for John Dugan will be held from 11 a.m. until 2 p.m. May 17th at Beautiful Moments located at 3400 Southwest 60th Avenue. Hundreds of millions of dollars are planned for improvements to Florida's interstates as well as the extension of Sunrail, but the Highway Trust Fund is facing a shortfall, according to Federal Transportation Secretary Anthony Fox. Fox expressed that concern in a letter to his state counterparts this week, and payments to states including Florida